Hello and welcome back to Sit and Learn webinars. My name is Lucas Schaefer. I see a few people are still trickling in. Thank you for attending. This is our fifth webinar series, and I really appreciate everybody's attendance. We've always had people showing up and telling me great things. We have some positive feedback. This might be the last one for this year, and otherwise check out at sitandlearn.biz. Today we're going to be talking about search engine optimization. So as people come in, I'll kind of tell you a little bit about Sit and Learn. Right now, you can see your interface. You should have a little control panel there. And throughout the webinar, we're going to ask a few questions and maybe some things like polls that you can interact with. And then also you'll see the little raise your hand button. Use your button now. Raise your hand if you see that button. Just want to see. Cool. Very cool. See a lot of people out there. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, that's typically how we'll utilize the webinar software. And I think we have a few people just popping in there. Here you go. All right. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what I think about search engine optimization, collectively known as SEO. Again, this is a Sit and Learn webinar created by Stan and Stretch. Most of the data we have today is going to be derived from search engine optimization, data from HubSpot, I got some stuff from Wikipedia I want to talk about. We're going to look at some terms, and let's just dive right in. I'm looking for this webinar to be probably about 45 minutes. Of course, if you have any questions, please ask. We have another helper on the line. So inside of the outline here, I want to talk about an intro to SEO. I want to talk about what it means to me a little bit, stats and terms. I'm going to drill some terms. I know I have about 9 slides of terms, but I really want to talk about it because I can't really tell you why it matters if I can't discuss these terms with you. History, that's a very important part of it, why it matters, what you should know as a website owner, as a business owner, as a person who is in a marketing field and deals with online marketing. I got a strategy. I want to just kind of go over a very simple, very effective strategy, and then some sites that can help you out. Of course, along the way, please feel free to ask any questions. So you'll notice I'll have that little poll marker in there. And I'm going to send this out now. And if you would, please let me know, do you own or manage a website? Very simple. Yes, no. And if you're not sure, then that's okay too. The idea behind this question is to find out who I can gauge some of the responses to. So I'm going to close it. Looks like we got a good piece there. Thank you. Over 76 people voted, and it looks like we have 76% of the people. Majority of people do kind of own or manage a website, and some of us don't. So that's cool. That's good to know. So moving right in and tell you a little bit about who we are. My name is Lucas Schaefer. I'm the speaker, the presenter today, and we also have Jamie McConnell, who's kind of doing some organization behind the scenes. Are you there, Jamie? Oh, I try that every webinar, and I always miss her. She's listening in right now. At any point, you can send us a question, and she'll help field it. And if it's important, we can move in through that. And our webinar sponsor is Stan and Stretch, of course. We're an interactive marketing agency specializing in web, mobile, social, advertising, and print. Okay, so one of the things that we'll talk about, and I love to talk about and jump right into, are the SEO stats. And I'm going to give you a little intro to search engine optimization too. In 2010, a lot of this information I got from the searchenginejournal.com, where I just thought some of this stuff would be great and relevant to talk about. So 2 billion people online, more than 226 million people came online for the first time in 2010, 226 million people for the first time. Market researcher IDC predicts that by 2015, 2.7 million will be out there. And let me just turn that off. Okay, so So what is this telling us? Well, the cool part is if we look down to number 5, 93% of online experiences begin with a search engine. So if you're a business or you're doing some kind of content marketing for websites or online marketing, this is a very important factor because usually the first website anybody goes to is Google. Some of the browsers we use like Chrome and Safari and Internet Explorer have allowed us to actually use the URL information for where we would store the website, like typing in www.website.com. You actually just type in your key terms and it automatically takes you to a predefined search engine. Today we're going to be focusing mainly on google.com. So take a look also, number 6 here, 41% of businesses are winning customers with social media. So we have a successful SEO campaign that works hand in hand with social media. It's very important to target these customers where they're at. We talk about Facebook and search engine optimization, search engine marketing in two different ways. And one of the newest terms that I've heard actually from somebody I was just reading recently, can't remember the name, but the idea was Facebook is actually a procrastination service. And it was the first time I ever heard that, and I said, well, that's exactly what it is. When I don't have anything else to do, I go on Facebook. Now, the aggressive part of that passive nature is that it does protrude into time where I'm supposed to be actively doing something. So it's a procrastination service that allows me to not function fully in a day, and everybody understands Facebook. So it's a passive scenario. Search engine optimization and search engine marketing is actually a very positive state. When you look at conversion rates and click-through rates, they're much, much higher when you talk about search engine optimization, because you basically have someone who is looking for you, who is already inept to make a purchase, who is already poising themselves to learn more about your product. So you have an idea here that you can capture all these millions of people that are actively shopping online and spending all this time online. So very good intro there. So poll number 2, just want to throw this out here and then we'll talk about these stats. Just want to kind of get an idea of who out there is currently using search engine advertising. This could be through Google AdWords, it could be Yahoo advertising. There's a lot of them out there, but I just want to kind of get the idea. So when I walk through the next set of stats, I can sort of gear them towards our audience. So we got a good percentage here. Almost 80% of you guys are voting. Thank you so much for the participation. Looks like a lot of people aren't, and that's okay. When you talk about things that are online advertising centric, you have your Facebook page, and it was free. It took you 10 minutes to set up. You have your Twitter account, and you connected it, and you're making posts, and you're doing what you need to do. You're listening to the community, and you got all these other things. But are you doing anything to provide inbound search opportunities? And maybe we could talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So here's some of my favorite stats. Now these came directly from, let me get back to that, Search Engine Journal again. Content marketing rocks. Marketing Sherpa reports distribution leads to 2,000% increase in blog traffic and 40% increase in revenue. I'm going to talk about this later on. I'm calling it simply a content strategy. It's very useful, and it's something you should be thinking about when you leave this webinar. You go home and you do these things. But today, 70% of the links search users click are organic. So we talked a little bit about paid advertising in the poll. Are you doing it? No. And that might be okay, because you might need to spend that money hiring a firm to rewrite your site towards a content strategy, towards a search engine optimized opportunity of being found by a search engine. We'll talk a little bit about that too. So 70 to 80% of users ignore the paid ads. Marketing Sherpa is telling us that they're focusing on the organic results. Also, 75% of the users never scroll past the first page of results. Maybe that was a good poll question. By a show of hands, how many people go to page 2 on google.com? It's very limiting how you can get from one page to the seventh page. If you're found on the seventh page, you have big issues. Less than 1%, I would think, find you there. So looking at a lot more of these stats, I just wanted to put them up here so you guys can read them as I was talking about some of the main points. Inbound leads, when done properly with search engine optimization, is showing a 61% lower cost than outbound leads. And typically what you would see in this scenario is, you're spending money on, let's say, money mailers, and they're going outbound, they're leaving your business, and they are trying to capture people so they come back to your business. Well, search engine optimizations, SEO, is the opportunity to have people find you without having to send out anything. So, 61% lower cost. I think we see a reduction in leads across the board. Our number one referral site on a majority of our websites that we manage, or our own personal sites, Google.com, is by far one of the biggest referral sites, and it's because of search engine optimization. So we have a couple of things here. I'm going to go to the next one. We have mobile search engine. I wanted to talk about this. I mentioned this to a group of people just recently about how important it was that you make sure that you put that phone number on your home page. How important it is that it's non-image. It's not an image. Make sure that it's actually context. It's typed in there as HTML or some other text type. So what you're looking at here is when somebody's looking for your property, maybe it's the passenger in a car and they're looking for your hours, or they're looking for a phone number to call you. They don't go into an app as often as you might think, like all menus or looking at places like that. They go directly to Google search, especially if it's on an Android app. And what they're doing is they're typing in your information, and they are searching for you on their mobile phone, and they could be just right down the street from you. So you can see here, this is a great little opportunity to think about. 61% of smartphone users make local searches from a device. I do it all the time. I remember just an example for me. I was outside of a restaurant, and the idea was we were waiting for it to open, and I wanted to go ahead and call in. We were trying to get some more information, and I didn't go up to the door to get the small little printed number off. So we waited with our group, and I search engine into Google and typed in the restaurant and brought up the phone number almost immediately. This also gives some credibility to what Google has done with their Google Places. Google Places is an opportunity for you to set up your business profile inside of Google. It's had many transitions, and it's also been taken over by Google Plus. So there's a lot of merging in with that search engine mentality, getting your business found on the web, simple things like that. Just one more thing about this. This is great. 49% of mobile and tablet users conduct local business searches. So this is telling me one thing, that we are all going to be looking for each other at one point in time. I just watched a TEDx talk with Seth Godin, talking about how we are the sum of our tools that we keep around us, and we no longer lean on people to be the information keepers. We don't have the encyclopedia on our desk anymore. We have search engines, the information at our fingertips. This is showing in multiple different parts of our culture. So just going to move in here to the next slide. So we're going to get into the terms in just a second, but I wanted to show you this information from Marketing Sherpa. This is kind of where you see the delegation of importance put into the search engine key terms that we're about to explain in detail. So you can see that a lot of people are focusing on keyword, key phrase research. This is a good, healthy content strategy. Title tags are important. Meta description tags. These are highlighted everywhere in search engine optimization. You can look at your website right now and determine whether or not these items are are put together correctly. Then you get into several other pieces: URL structuring, internal linking, the actual content that's in the page. And this almost, we're going to look at the history, the timeline of importance of all these pieces through Google and talk a little bit about the history. And then landing pages all the way down to the sitemap, and then into digital assets, images, videos, podcasts, and whatnot. So what is search engine optimization? I got this straight off Wikipedia because I can't say it any better. It's the process of affecting the visibility of a website or a web page in a search engine's natural or unpaid search results. And that's exactly it. You have the optimization process that we do internally here, and this is kind of what it looks like. Initial analysis, we take a look at a content strategy, which is usually filled with keywords. We do a competitor analysis. Where is everybody else showing up when you type in key terms? Are your competitors showing up for you? When you type in your type of professional service, are your competitors showing up? Sitemap structuring, how are you telling these search engines the information that's on your site, all the way around to article submission, link popularity, and then search engine result, known as SERPs, SERPs, in those reports. So as an internet marketing strategy, SEO considers how search engines work, what people search for, and promoting a site to increase the number of backlinks and inbound links can also help. We're going to talk very clearly through what those actually are. So diving right in, and I have a key term glossary. I think this is about 6 pages. I just want to walk through it. I don't want to read it to anybody. I just want to give my own little spin on this, but you can definitely read through it while I'm talking. Key terms in search engine optimization, we have to understand a few of these basic technical terms so that we can identify and be smart about how we're trying to do these terms when it comes to internet marketing. The alt text and the tag attributes are the ideas that you can wrap pictures with text so that they can be usable for the blind and deaf users that might have an ADA issue with your use of your website. That was what it was previously used for. Now it's information that's used by search engines like Google to propagate Google images, things like that. So that helps whenever possible. It's something that you get graded on when you submit your information to a SEO site. Anchor text, this is very similar to, excuse me, when you go to a website and they have a couple of pieces of content that say click here to go to this part. We see this all the time on Wikipedia, where it gives you the little glossary outline, and when you click on history, it takes you all the way down to the history part of the website. Google knows that's important text, otherwise you wouldn't have anchored it. So it's called anchor text, so it's very important to search engine optimization. A blog is a part of the website where you should regularly post content. If you've talked to me ever about a website, I've always spoken that the blog is one of the most important key components to your success online. And make sure your blog is kept with your own domain. We have a lot of people that have blogs that are separate. Lucas L. Schaefer blogspot.com is not controlled and contained inside of lucaslschaefer.com. It's very simple. And I've got most of these key terms from HubSpot just to give credit. So the domain, this is very simple. www.yourwebsite.com. It's good to renew ownership. If you have a longer term relationship with your registration, it'll show as a positive marker for your search engine ranking, which we'll talk about in just a second. The fold is often something that I bring up when we talk about website design, usability. What do the people see when they go to your site without having to scroll down first? This is the same as newspaper mentality. When they show you the front of that newspaper, is everything in that newspaper, that front fold, that first flap you see, is everything there going to make you want to open up the newspaper and read the inside? The same thing's true with a website. So you have what's called the fold. Now the headings are also important. If a good web designer is using these H tags, specifically H1 through H6, to delegate priority to the search engines, but also to stylize their site. This is commonly used by web designers to structure different types of text. inbound links. This is very important when it comes to search engine optimization, especially if the site has high page rank. For example, Stand and Stretch, we write a blog all the time, and we got a inbound link from allfacebook.de, which is a Facebook website in Denmark, Germany. So the page had very high page rank, which ultimately leaked over and allowed us to be connected. So sometimes, getting people to do that is twofold. How do you go to someone who has a great website and say, hey, can you give me a link back to my website? That's a conversation that's usually had when you try to partner or team with a company. Internal link a page from one to another. This is a positive thing. Making that web even closer connected. Indexing pages from your website that are stored by search engines. This is basically where all of your information goes into the search engines. It's called being indexed, and it's a technical term that basically says, just like a card catalog at the library has all the information about all the books, your index actually has all the information about all of your pages in your website. So a keyword, very simple. Keyword is a word that is used to enter it in search, and it can be found in content on your page. Link building, which is a very popular thing we've seen in the past couple of years, is how do we improve our link building? It's the activity and process of getting more inbound links. Diving right into some metadata. I got to sit and talk with the web designer for the Columbus, Georgia website, and we were talking about metadata, and we talked about description and meta keywords. And here it states even clearly that meta keywords are no longer used by any major search engines, and I'm kind of skipping around there. Metadata is sort of the umbrella term for meta description and meta keywords. This is actually information that's found in the top part of your website that's consumed by the search engine that helps mark and identify your website as a certain type of website, as a certain keyword structure. It gives you the preferences, it gives you the information that the search engine needs to look for it in the future through indexing. The meta description is very important. Anybody knows anything about the meta description, it's the part of the website that shows on Facebook when you try to share a link. And everybody's seen that. So when you try to share a link, it gives you a picture, gives you the title of the page, and then there's that block of text. You can strategically change that meta description by putting whatever you need to in here. And it's very common to have the meta description actually be very different from the content on the page. So you're wanting people to strategically look at your meta description in the search engine results, because you can target that meta description when somebody looks for your website and it pops up in the search engine result. The meta description is what they're going to read. And if you leave out the meta description, and what you've probably seen on Facebook too, is that it takes the first paragraph of content and puts that up there. So there's strategy behind the meta description. It's very interesting how this is used if it's duplicated across the site, it's actually a negative mark on your page ranking. But if it's unique for every page, you get a lot of bonus points. And I just did a double thumbs up in the air just in case anybody was looking or listening. Moz rank is a term for everybody. Everything has a ranking. Let's just say this real quick. Search engine optimization has a ranking. It's usually found by an industry-specific participant who has stayed objective to marketing their services, and sort of what we've seen with SEO Moz, which is a company I'm going to talk about in a little bit. It got so popular that they started becoming the standard for the ranking of websites. So there's an algorithm that looks at a piece of every one of these terms and even more, and puts together the priorities from the inbound links that are coming in. What's the ranking of the pages that are inbound linked to you? So this is like a huge affiliate marketing ranking model. And if you can get all the websites in the world to inbound link to your website, you could have a little bit of everybody's ranking. So that's kind of and it also concerns around content and how it's used to market your website. So you can see it's ranked from 0 to 10. There are sites out there called websitegrader.com, which I did not list in this. I'll tell you again, websitegrader.com, and it will actually report to you your Moz rank, and it will give you so much information about your website. You should take that report and walk into an office like Stand and Stretch and say, Lucas, I have some issues, and this is what Website Grader is telling me. Can we fix these to improve my site's performance? And Moz rank is one of those metrics we move. We try to move the needle. So we're halfway through, and I know everybody's still with me, right? Hello? Okay, cool. Page title is another important priority when it comes to search engine optimization. What did you title your page? Now, I give this as an example when it comes to blogging very clearly. So basically, you're writing a blog post, and let's say that you're in a professional service that's dealing with, let's just say you're a lawyer. And one of the things that you're thinking about is, how do I get traffic to come to my website? Well, the title is very, very important, because if you write a blog post that says top 5 things to consider before liquidating your assets, man, that's almost exactly what I would type into a search engine. So if I can get the page titles to look exactly like what's being searched, then I can get a higher rate of return on traffic from Google. So the combination of all of that, your page title is very important. The weight of the words diminish after you get past 7 or 8. I believe the characters that are used for most search engine optimizers for websites are they say past 27, past 35. Once you get beyond so far with your title, the words are no longer a preference. So you have about 10 words to say what you want to be found for. Top 5 things you should consider before liquidating assets. So you have your key terms in there, and you can understand that. PageRank is something that's very similar to the Moz rank. This is actually assigned by Google. They do their own algorithm, and PageRank is always changing. Let's say that I know many of people who have built a career trying to increase PageRank for single companies. It's one of those things that maybe every 6 months you need to check and see whether or not you're going up, whether or not the changes are made to your site that are positive, or whether or not you're going down. My policy when we build out sites is stick to the standard of what is going on for search engine optimization. Do things right, and then your preference might be better as time goes along, because what Google is doing right now with the release of Panda, this is the next term, it's actually the name of the release. I know we've all heard like ice cream sandwich and Android releases, and they have all these cool names. Google has named their algorithm updates. In a series of recent ones was called Panda. PageRank is the output of Panda. So Panda contains all of these changes. What is the actual percentage of preference going into the page title? What is the actual percentage of content placement for all these keywords on your site? Panda is that secret. I once heard that Google actually has 16 different departments working on 16 different businesses, locations, like not in the same building, but 16 different locations, all working on different parts of the Google algorithm, just because it is so vital to the business's success that no one person have all of that information. It sounds crazy, but the idea is Google is always changing. We'll talk a little bit about that too. So PageRank is produced by Google. It's a very important stat for your website. So a SERP, you hear this a lot when you start talking about search engine result pages, search engine ranking page. The idea is, I just picture this, a bunch of guys kept getting tired of saying search engine ranking page, SERP, SERP, SERP. So one of the cool things that you can try is to type in Lucas Schaefer into Google, anywhere you like to try, and notice that all 10 results on the first page are all this Lucas Schaefer right here. That's designed through our knowledge of SEO and how we fill up the web with that kind of technology. Search engine ranking page is what you're looking at when you look at anything you're searching for. Sitemap is very important. Sitemap actually contains a predetermined list of all the pages to your site. Makes it easier for the other places to index. And then of course social media. We've noticed that Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all the majors have actually started improving search engine preferences. For example, because Facebook is such an awesome site, if you had a link that was from Facebook to your website, you were getting some very minute bit of preference. So if you have a lot of activity on Facebook that revolves around your blog, you're going to get some extra ranking. So I think this is it. This is the last one, and then everybody can sit back up. A spider, a computer program that browses the internet and collects information about websites. Someone actually asked me the other day, said, Lucas, how does Google get all this information? Do I have to submit stuff? I said, no, you don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, there's things that you can do to make that spider more effective to your website. That is like creating a sitemap that we just spoke about, which is a collection of all the pages on your site in one file. It's very important to even have that separated. You can even minimize it and make it compressed into a zip file, and it can be consumed quicker. And Google likes that. So those spiders are out there. They're called web crawlers, whatever you want to call it. I remember there used to be a site called Web Crawler. Anybody remember that? Raise your hand. Yeah, maybe, no. The idea of web crawler is exactly where Google came in, and we're going to talk about the history in just a second. Traffic is very, very easy. Title of your website. We talked about this just a moment ago. Then the traffic rank. How much is your traffic? Go to alexa.com and check out your traffic. You might not be ranked. You might be ranked. It only ranks, I think, the top 500. Yeah, absolutely. Someone just asked a question about the link at the bottom. The great thing about HubSpot, and we use them all the time. I think this question is from Jennifer. Thank you. I can send you this information if you like. If you just want to email me at lucas@stayinachurch.com, I can send you to that essential keyword terms very easily. No problem. So moving into the history, gosh, this chart is so crazy, but what I want you to look at is the actual line in the middle. When you start seeing the preference, that blue line is the on-page SEO. And let me explain what the on-page SEO. As we move from 1994 through 2010 and the next two slides, I want you to notice how time is sort of breaking up, and tactics and strategy and the search engine optimization is turning itself over, and how it's focusing on so many different things now. So the red part of this idea is the submission. The first search engines out there, they didn't have web crawlers to go to different websites. They didn't have pre-indexed listings. So as you saw them grow, you saw less and less search engine submission needs all over as far as search engine optimization. And this was also provided by Greenlight. And it was done in 2010, so it's a little bit older. But it was a great pick, and I just thought, man, this is great. Let's just walk through this real quick. 1994 in April, Yahoo, at the same time, Web Crawler became the first full-text index of the web. It's so exciting. Everybody clap. That's good. That really was a crowning achievement for Yahoo, and I think it was one of their staying powers till today. We saw as we moved through, I'm going all the way to 1998, just to be quick. You'll start noticing that the red starts to disappear and evaporate in almost 2000. Wow. If you have someone coming to you and say, you need to submit your website to browsers, that's not necessarily true anymore. It's still a practice that you can do, of course, but where is it falling in SEO's history lineage here? And just so you know, when we talk about on-page SEO, we're talking about the things that I mentioned. We're talking about title tags. We're talking about the alt tags, the content on the pages, the title tags, the header tags, information that you can see on page. And then we start seeing when Google gets introduced in 1998, September 1998, what were you doing September 1998 when Google launched? I was just finishing up high school. That's a really cool thing because I just started my degree in computer science, and I remember there was one thing that was going around the room as a programmer, and everybody was in there is, wow, Google is a great place to get all the answers for all of our questions. And that was just back then, that the power of information became ours. So you can see, you also notice that PageRank was introduced right around that time, and then anchor text became very important as it kind of goes into the right side. 2010, I'm sorry, 2000, the PageRank was introduced in December, and that's when you started getting the feedback from webmasters and web designers and saying, hey, this is 10 years ago, guys. Let me just kind of move forward here. So notice that we have so many different variables now. Moving all the way to the far left, you can see now where we have on-page SEO just kind of decreasing and then leveling back out over the entire line. PageRank becoming a little bit less. Can you imagine being in 2002 when all I had to worry about was on-page SEO, PageRank, and anchor text? So PageRank, again, is the inbound links, is the setup for your website that creates information that's bringing people, like I mentioned, if a big website that's ranked #1 in the world links to you, your PageRank goes up, so you get preference in the search results. So this is, if you do these three things well, you can get found on #1 in search engine. This is about the time that you started seeing firms, and I'm talking about 2002, specifically the bar all the way on the left. This is about the same time that you saw firms open up that did nothing but search engine optimization. For the next 5 years, from 2002 to 2007, you see firms just growing and bursting with work. Unfortunately, the things that were working during then, you saw become less of importance factor for SEO. With the introduction of domain authority becoming one, you can't just set up a website anymore and then immediately turn on all these features and then have SEO being spectacular, which means I can't just go set up a site today and have a matured organic state without doing some kind of black hat. And what I mean black hat, I mean Google unfriendly tactic that gets you put into these places only for a short time, though. You'll see that I'm not discussing any black hat things today. Everything today is white hat and considered golden by any rules. So I have a question here, and I just want to take a moment to read through it. Just give me 1 second here. This is a great question. Thank you, Alex. The cool part about this question, and I'm going to read it. It says, Lucas, how do some of the big companies like Homes.com dominate the local searches? Would Google try to encourage the local companies for these searches? And you're absolutely right. Some of this is going to come from what type of information are you putting out there for your search engine results. What I would imagine, and I'm going to just speak off the cuff here, is Homes.com has actually dedicated very high quality landing pages to every city in the United States. Let's just say every city over 100,000 population. I just cut out like 90% of the cities. But so they build these high quality landing pages focusing on all of these different tactics, and they are popping up first because they are outright beating you on all of these lines across the board while still staying in a white hat scenario. So you got Homes.com is also being linked into, which is giving them higher page rank than anybody else. You see this. This is a very common scenario. Why does my site show up third when I'm the only provider in an area, but this national company is getting organic search results? There's a lot of things that are going into trying to make the search local, and you can actually attack that market also by going in and preferencing regional information. Like if you put together a content strategy, how are you doing things? Like for example, for Columbus, Georgia, if you were in the plumbing service industry, you would say plumbing Columbus, GA. That way you could specifically target, and it depends on how high quality those links are. If you've targeted your website to be specific to a geographical location like Columbus, Georgia, you might show a little bit more preference. But there is something that goes into those national websites that have built a better page, laying on top of the page rank because they've inbound linked from a million websites. Unless you do this, unless you repeat those same tactics, you can't ever win. And that's where Google gets you by saying, hey, if you pay us money, we'll put you in the paid search. And the paid search is where it gets really wiry. It works. It's great. I think we use it as a component for our marketing strategies, as a campaign strategy, short term and long term. But the idea is you can put together all these high quality landing pages and still might not be able to get over some of these characteristics that homes.com might dominate you as far as search engines. One more question. Alex, I hope I answered that question for you. Thank you so much for asking. Laura, and thank you for asking this question, because this is good, because I mentioned it, and as soon as I mentioned it, I said, man, I'm going to have to explain that. White hat versus black hat. Well, and as a programmer, I know just in general, just by my nature, that black hat testing, black hat development is usually meant in a hacker sense. Like for example, the white hat is just a name that's synonymous with everything's okay. We have this is what everybody's asking us to do. Then the black hat is keyword stuffing. Can you imagine that at some point prior to about 2004, a black hat strategy was to take white text and overlay it on a white background, just so when a search engine read it, it got more keywords and repetitive keywords. At one time, there wasn't an algorithm to stop you from saying the same keyword 1,000 times on a page to get preference over other things. So these types of strategies, which have now become known as black hat strategies, now can get you banned from Google. And if you're a site that has over 80% traffic coming from Google and you just cut that off, you are now looking at direct and referral inbound traffic only. And because if Google marks you, they all use the same blacklisting. They will all put you in the same category. They will pop up mean messages. If you're a Google Chrome user or Safari user, you visit these blacklisted pages and it says this site has been deemed unsafe and has presented itself in a malware scenario. That there are ways to cheat it, and we don't focus on making black hat strategies work with our clients. Like I said, if you do it right, the chances are when the Google algorithm changes, your website's going to already be improved over the other ones. So I hope I explained that well. I'm going to dive back into this. There's just a couple of key points into the slide here. This is cool because one of the things I wanted to point out was that we had right around 2000. Let me see here. It looks like it was going to be in 2008, and I thought it was in 2006. I was looking for it. Might have been before. At some point, these black hat scenarios for the search engine optimization people who had been doing these things before came through and saw that link context became very important. So we couldn't go out and set a site up that had 1 billion links inbound. So we see a lot of this graph in front of us become very diverse, and even today, you see a lot of this diversion of what is important. At the far right, you'll see the user signals, and I think that's actually talking about people clicking and responding, Google reviews at Google Places. Google reviews will get you better search engine optimization. So if you right now have a Google Plus page or a Google Places page, you need to start getting some people out there and actually reporting real, actual reviews for your website. It's very important. So let's move on here. Okay, quick poll before everybody goes to sleep on me. All right, so how much do you know about traffic that's coming from Google to your site now? Do you know how much traffic is coming from Google right now on your site? Is it 80%? Anything? Do you know anything about it? Because I'm gonna tell you a little bit about why it's important that you know this information. We're talking about some strategy, and I think we're going to be done. So thanks for all the questions. And it looks like the poll's wrapping up here, and I'm going to close it out now, and I'm going to share it. So what we're looking at here is, do you know how much traffic is coming from Google? And a lot of people don't know. I think that's okay. One of the things that I had a question from Cullen inside of our Facebook event page. He wanted to talk a little bit about Google Analytics. And Google Analytics, which is google.com/analytics, will help you hook up to your website and produce so much information. It's absolutely crazy. So that's good. So this next conversation is going to be helpful for a lot of us. That's really great. So okay, so why does search engine optimization matter? So you're spending all this time, you're doing your keywords, you're writing out titles, you're doing specific meta descriptions, you're getting people to inbound link to your website. Okay, I get it. So what are the outcomes of some of this strategy? So, better quality traffic. Man, that is the key there. One of the ideas is that how many people are coming to your site from Google, and how many of them are performing something. Let's talk about this. So if they're going to Google and they're searching in plumbers in Columbus, Georgia, and they're finding your site, they're already poised to make a decision. They're either wanting more information about your company, or 50% of the time, I'd say that's my own average, by the way. Half the time they come to your site, they're ready to make a purchase. They want to find out about your prices. They want to see how you fall in line with your competitors. So better quality traffic comes from Google, period. Increasing sales, we see that without that inbound links from Google, then many people can't find your site. So in introducing SEO into your business, search engine optimization will obviously increase the traffic, thus increasing sales. Your client base is now finding you online. And then your competitors. Man, it's so cool to be able to beat out your competitors just for a couple of key terms that you, what I would call, own. So I just did air quotes in the air. You can own search engine keywords if you do it right. And I think that goes back to Alex's question about homes.com. So what you should know, and this is kind of where you're at with the maturity of a site. I always tell our clients that with white hat strategies, with basic SEO technology, doing it right, doing it well, you can't expect amazing results immediately. I give it a 3 to 6 month period. So I'd like to look at this chart, like right here, that it is at a 6 month timeline. So we're looking at this going from left to right as if it's 6 months. It takes about 3 to 6 months for a site to mature into a search engine optimized state. So what you can see here, and what I really like about this, is that they use a term that's called content licensing, and I love that, because once you sort of indirectly own a subset of keyword, it's kind of like you're licensing it to other people. Okay, anyways, it's probably not exactly what that means, but you could see as time goes on, you're emerging into an established state of this type of value. Inside of the orange, you see that the manual requests, directories, article submissions, they just fall off. They're good to get them out there. Man, they're good to put information out there, that first step, because, hey, you didn't exist before then. So it's good to just have that, hey, I exist, that 0.001% of the puzzle is now complete. And then you have the viral content, creation and promotion. Now, how many times is your blog showing up in other people's feeds? How did the news pick up on it? Did ABC News, did all Facebook in Denmark post back to you? And then also that leads into the media attention. So as you look at your site and watch it mature, built correctly, 3 to 6 months is a great state to see where your site might be after some time. So this is another what you should know. gosh, if you look at the far right of this, this is where the money is, conversions. So if you follow the online marketing cycle, which is very easy to remember, you got to get found, which is what we're talking about today, search engine. You have to get found somehow. How do you get found? That's one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle. Then how are you converting those people? The conversions, if you take your equation and say, okay, well, what do I want to increase the most? Do I want to increase the amount of people that see my website, the amount of people that click on my website, or the amount of people that convert into a sale on my website? And most undoubtedly, it's the last of that. So what you see here is sort of a breakdown of importance when it comes to the individual pieces of what search engines provide. Keyword, I'm just going to kind of read it on the left to right. The keywords, the on-page optimization, the backlink, anchor text help you with the targeted keywords. The site authority are the number of backlinks, backlink authority. Where are you with sites that are linking back to you? That works on your ranking, period. So how do you get more traffic volume? Well, it's a combination of the ranking with the competitors, the number of keyword searches, competition for keywords, keyword relevance, and traffic quality. So how do you increase your traffic volume in these things? Focusing on number of keyword searches, keyword relevance. If you can increase any of those, like doing a campaign that sparks people to type in something that's new and cool, and then overall quality of site design. Man, look at that one. It's so important. If your site is set up to not call to action, then you have a bigger issue than search engine optimization. And let me talk about that for a second. Overall quality of site design, for me, to increase the conversions, to get the conversions with a good traffic quality, you need to have something on your page that when they land there, like if you're doing a landing page, we talked about high quality landing pages, there needs to be a call to action. Click here, buy now, save here. Those things, you need to drive the opportunity into the conversions. And then you can start looking at a performance-based strategy. Okay, so that's cool stuff to think about. So as a marketing strategy, as we kind of dial into the last few minutes here, just wanted to say something like, just put this out there for you. SEO is not an appropriate strategy for every website. There are many other internet marketing strategies that can be more effective. So it just depends on what you want to do. A successful internet marketing campaign may also depend upon building high quality web pages. So you're not just talking about doing a couple of custom things to change a couple of words around on your site. You also need to focus on building the quality landing pages that are going to support search engine traffic. Setting up an analytics program. Google Analytics allows you to hook up to a site and tracks all this information. Matter of fact, it'll tell you the actual keywords that were searched and brought traffic to your site. So you can do the reverse. You can see what keywords are bringing traffic to your site. And I'll tell you what, if they don't match your 45 to 60 keywords that you're building out today, then you need to focus on doing something like what I'm designating here. So that's something that you should be considering. And then how many leads are you getting through your website? Stand and Stretch alone drives a majority of its site from traffic from Google, but we do also get emails and leads from our website. People all the time sending us, how do we do this? Can you help us with that? So it's great. It's a great way to drive traffic. So here's what I would say do as a marketing strategy. Designate a content strategy for SEO copywriting for web. If you have somebody on staff that is writing content for your website, they need to have a list of 45 to 60 keywords, including short phrases, posted right above their monitor. So when they're typing out this content for websites, they are using a structured version of what your messaging, what your branding says inside of that content strategy. And also remember that SEO changes frequently. Maybe don't spend too much time focusing on getting everything, but make sure you have the important things put in place. Look for opportunities to create backlinks from other websites, and then set up Google Analytics immediately. It's free, google.com/analytics. According to Google's CEO in 2010, which I think is a while ago, Google made over 500 algorithm changes in 2010. That is almost 1.5 per day. There's no way you can keep up with that. My estimate is spend about 3 to 6 months, same as a maturing process for SEO. Talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. Visit a website that you might want to consider, like searchengineland.com. It's just for info. We want to go there to find out more stuff. I go to Search Engine Land all the time. It's just a great conglomeration of information. We talked about SEOmoz.org. SEOmoz.org can give you everything you need to effectively manage SEO. It's not a commercial for SEO Moz. It is a great tool. They got a free trial, and if you just want to hook your site up to it for the first 1 month and then look at all the data that you can play with, it's absolutely there for you. And then again, it's $99 a month, and it just depends on how much you're dedicating to it. If I had to give priority to all the inbound strategies that we work on right now, search engine optimization for our website is very important. So then another site to consider. This is my favorite new guy on the block. Searchlight Conductor. It's very pricey, but man, this little software is very cool. They just founded the Conductor Searchlight Foundation, which actually gives this tool away to nonprofits. So if you want to follow up with me about what that means for you, or if you run a nonprofit organization or a business that's in need of something cool like Conductor, they give you a temporary license for 6 months or a year. It's a very cool opportunity to get a very high powered SEO tool that we love. I use it, so it's very cool. Now, I appreciate everybody for being here today. We are going to be posting up our Pinterest webinar, my Sit and Learn webinar, Pinterest webinar to YouTube. Right now, I don't have a poll 5. I see it sitting there right there. It's left over from the old presentation. But the poll actually says, are you going to go to YouTube and subscribe to our page? If you do, you'll get a notification that looks much like this one in the middle that says, hey, Lucas has uploaded the webinar to YouTube. I can go watch it again. So we're usually not releasing the videos for up to 30 days, so we can try to keep attendance high. I love the interaction inside the polls, inside the questions being asked and answered. So that's really where I want to keep everything important. So please continue to show up. I try to keep it at lunch. It seems to be a good time. And again, hashtag sit and learn. If you had a great time, let everybody know. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.